Hello and welcome to Two Row Studios How to Happy Hour on choosing a web host. We hope during this presentation you'll learn some of the things that go into making sure you have the right host for your website. All right, let's jump right in. Let's start with some questions that we've used with clients to help determine what the proper type of hosting solution was going to be for them. The first one that we talk about is how long is this site intended to last? If it's only going to last a couple of years, we might be less worried about portability of the existing content onto something new. If it's going to last for 5 years and then expand into something different, that becomes a little bit different. We need to make sure that not only are we choosing the right host for today, but also for 5 years from now. The next thing is who's going to build it. We obviously have our preferences of hosts because we've worked with them. We find that they're good for our clients, but they're also good for us. So your designer may have a lot of input into this part of the question for you, and you may want to actually get that squared away as well as who is going to host your site. The next is what kind of a site is it going to be? Well, you're going to need a little bit more for something that's going to host something more interactive like an e-commerce website compared to something that's acting really as a billboard for you. And beyond that, you have the decision between something like a Squarespace, which is much more marketing focused, versus Shopify, which is e-commerce focused, but neither of which really works well for something that's going to integrate into a lot of other areas of your business, which is really where people start to get value out of the website, not just by having a billboard or a storefront. The next question is then how much traffic you need to consider. Now, this can be tricky because sometimes traffic will spike and ebb and flow and everything like that. So clearly you want to have enough of that bandwidth to be there. But if you're getting only 100 people a day, you may find that you can get away with a little less budget towards it in order to make sure that you're still covering the people that you have, but saving the money that you need to. Finally, this is one of the ones that we think is a little bit trickier for everyone, and that is how valuable the website is. And we think it's tricky because a lot of people don't think through the entire implication of a website. They look at it as either a billboard or a yellow page ad or something that people go to get information about how to call or how to get to the storefronts. And the truth is that is really changing, especially now that we've seen what a pandemic can do to our in-person sales and how much more important the digital channels really become, not only for information about our storefronts, but to actually execute sales and then support the customers after that fact. So now that we've really kind of taken in all of that information about somebody's particular situation, we usually try to break down their level of need in 3 different areas. And the first is, what is the budget aspect of it? Where are we talking about the ongoing investment fitting for their business, their needs, and their capability of supporting it. So sometimes you may need to really consider how much you can afford before you care about anything else. The next is what level of service are they going to need, and that is really kind of boiling down to the behind the scenes maintenance, backups, updates to key things on the servers that maybe you wouldn't have any idea how to deal with. So making sure that you're dealing with somebody who has the appropriate amount of service for what you need goes a long way in making sure that your site stays up reliably. And finally, that growth-focused aspect. How flexible is that host to allowing your website needs to grow as your business grows, and to do so without a whole lot of hiccup along the way? So bringing those all together really stems from the answers to those questions as to which of these is most important to you. And in some cases, they overlap pretty well, but in the end, you're still going to be making a fair number of decisions. So since you have a lot of decisions to make, let's try to make that a little bit easier. we've got this cheat sheet for you where, as you've been able to rank budget versus service versus growth, you should be able to look at this and perhaps rule out some of the options and make the decision a little bit easier. Of course, there are a lot of nuances to it. We would be more than happy to help you go through your particular situation and give you some advice as to what might be the best solution for you. By all means, reach out to us and schedule some time with us. Also, if you'd like to take part in a more interactive version of this, these how-to happy hours are something that we do as a webinar as well. We'll kind of go through some of this again, but then also have a pretty nice open discussion over a couple of brews with everybody about what their experience was and maybe learn something from each other along the way. So we hope that you've enjoyed the presentation and got something valuable out of it, and look forward to seeing you at one of our live webinars.